British tennis stars suffers defeat in Stockholm Open and in football Nigeria, while Open New Zealand in FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Details of this and many more will be yours just after now. It's a beautiful morning. Welcome back from that short break. Let's get started here. Emmanuel Michael here is in the studio, and of course, I will discuss a lot this morning. Michael, it's a beautiful morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tempo. Good morning to our viewers out there.
All right, quickly, let's start with basketball news here. As the Nigerian Basketball Federation has officially announced the dates for the highly anticipated MBBF Men's Basketball League season. Now, this year's edition promises to be an exciting one with 16 top teams competing in two conferences. The Savannah and Atlantic Conference are in phases. The Savannah Conference will take place in Jos Plateau State from 25th of October to 3rd of November, while the Atlantic Conference will be held in Benin, Edo State during the same period. The top 4 teams from each conference will advance to the Final 8 tournament, scheduled to take place from 13th to 19th of November, while the venue for the Final 8 will be announced in due course. This knockout stage is expected to be intense and thrilling. Mike, you saw the way the women league just ended a few days ago. It is now turn for the men's to decide who is the winner, and of course the winner, has the glorious opportunity of representing Nigeria at the forthcoming the next season's Basketball African League. So this is a good plan for them, and of course it looks like this has already been planned even before now.
Yes, for the NBVF, I think they've been doing a good job in the last 2 years, especially from the leagues right here in the country. Talk about the Women League, you see how consistent it has been, where we see a very steady sponsor, sponsoring them. I think we've not encountered any challenges in terms of sponsorship for the female basketball team right here. You saw how gloriously MFM were able to defend the title they won last season just a few hours ago. Then again, this is the male category, and we'll be hoping that our own Rivers Hoopers will also continue to show the stuff that they are made up of. After their impressive display at the last Afro Basketball Championship, where the coach of the side, Ogo Daudu, actually got NBA recognition, where he was invited to be among some of their coaching crew out there. In fact, he was the coach of that tournament. They came back here, rested. Within some few months, they had to take part in the chief of staff competition to mark the 64th anniversary independence of the country out there in Abuja. Despite the fact that they have not been active after the Afro Basketball Championship, still yet they went there, did their bid, played very well, came out top, were crowned champion in that very one. So I believe they are very ready as well to emerge as one of the 4 teams in the conferences, at least that will be heading for the final to get an unknown venue as it is. So for me, I think for basketball right here in the country, it seems to be getting at least the needed attention right from the league until we talk about the national, where the male team have not been able to pull out of the challenges of the past. But I think in terms of the league organization, they'll be up and doing the last 2 years.
Up and doing the last 2 years, but the other person would say that having just the way it is scheduled within a certain period isn't just good enough. For example, we saw how that of the women was outlined. They start from a particular phase. If you stage it in such a way that it cuts across 2-3 quarters, it makes it more competitive. It keeps the team on their toes. For example, it makes them prepare, because it seems that they have a competition. But now you are just clustering. A lot of people are looking at the timeline between October and November. A person think that it is too choky for the teams that will be in this action.
For me, I do not think so. It's about preparation, that you've already rested a lot, and you know that the NBA Nigerian basketball season, the league will soon kick off, and you should prepare for whatever comes. The NBA, see how it is being planned. There's not.
But the NBA runs for a very
full
year season. Yeah. So what stops us from having that, where you have home and away basis? If you even do that, it makes the team. It makes them. It makes them plan their home games. For example, the issue of infrastructure is not looked into here. We are talking about developing the game in different areas of the society. Look at today. We go to Lagos. We go to Plateau Jos, and then we go to maybe some Nasarawa and Lafia, and then we come to Edo State. Go to Edo State, not even Delta. So whereas Delta also have same thing, What we're looking at is the level of infrastructure. What is the place of infrastructure from the home team? Rivers Hoopers do have a very lovely stuff at Niger Street there, but because there is no opportunity given, so if you have a 6 months period league, so to say, don't you think that some of these things will be looked into? And in terms of planning too, state will feel that they have the basketball team.
Yeah, I think so. It will also enable for more infrastructural development if these things are planned that way. I don't know what is in the minds of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, but then I think for now, this is just the idea that they have. You know, maybe as you know, the season continues to wear along, they will also think twice on how to expand this you know, tournament or the league as well, to have it more vibrant, more efficient and more competitive, because when you are having it face by face or even planned for a long calendar period for the season, it helps the players to be very, very active, and it increases the level of competitiveness, just like what we are seeing in the NBA. They play about 88 games in a row, very long calendar. And by so doing, all teams are on their toes, because you know that every game counts for you. At the end of it all, you'll be heading for the play. Some team will be heading for the playoff, and this keeps the clubs, you know, very, very active, knowing that each game that you play matters so much. And for me, I think it keeps the tournament or even the league, it's very, very vibrant. And by so doing, you know, clubs will be tempted, you know, to put up a very good infrastructures, because they will be playing it at a home and away basis. Unlike in the NBA, it's either you play home or you play away. But here, they group it in some places where they think that maybe the infrastructure is there. You know, I think for me it doesn't really help. But if you have it more like a long season, a long calendar season, have time to plan, there will be need for you to be playing home and away. You play here, you play away, because you have the facilities on ground. Not just traveling to one city, you come there for some period of weeks and you play 1 or 2 games out there. You say you've graduated or you've gotten to the final eight. For me, I think it's about planning, and I don't know, like I said, what is the mission and aim of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, but I think they should be thinking towards that line, so as to, for us to have a very viable and very competitive league.
In the NBA, they make use of 8 calendar months, from October to May at least. But this year one ended by June. That's how lengthy it takes them, because of the number of games. Now, if you have, let's say you have 12 teams in the country that will qualify or be part of the league system for that particular one, I think that a lot of people have argued that, okay, part of the reason why we cannot is because of logistics reasons, funding challenge, and I think these are the 2 key reasons, because if there is money, people can easily do that. But take football, for example. Before now, the same argument has been placed in the tables of those who are running the football system in Nigerian league. And I will tell you, oh, we don't have enough money, so let's do a bridge league. A bridge league, so that before you know it, you can meet up the calendar of CAF, you can do this, you can do that. But you already know that this is the timeline for bar. This is the time we need to prepare. So you need a champion before time, so we can have. What you need to do now is to plan yourself to say, okay, if you're going to make it of 6 months period or 5, you plan it week by week. It must not be as football where you say once every week you travel. It can be twice. It depends on that, because they're playing 6 games away, 6 games home. You plan, but I think that that's the best way to go, so that you can also give the state sense of belonging in that sport. There are basketball enthusiasts in some of these states. You know, if they don't get to see their home team play in their home ground, that sense of belonging isn't there. It is not just good enough to pick some selected cities and say, okay, they're going to host this particular tournament, it's an abridged league, and then it ends there. And by so doing too, I'm beginning to ask, what the recurrent expenditures from clubs, what happens to them? So is this only when River Supers, for example, goes out for a particular tournament that they will not chunk in money? What happens to the budget of the ministry, of the sporting unit in each of the states. What is he used for? What happened to infrastructure development? Is it when we have like Lafia now, or maybe Plateau State now, they have supervised it, the state will now start rushing to prepare the ground. I think that it is high time the NBBF will work. I mean, if you want to do holistic development of a particular unit of sports, then you need to be very intentional. No doubt, the NBBF chairman is doing so well. The president, I'm talking about Ahmed Musa Kida, no doubt, but it needs to go beyond that. That's what we're saying. That's what some stakeholders are saying. We need to start seeing basketball is the second most followed sport in Nigeria, and we need to be very, very, very intentional. That's the key word here, intentional, to change the narrative and ensure that this basketball lovers enjoy the depth of the sports down to their grassroots, down to where they can have a feel of it, down to knowing the player's name. And the only way we can have that is a legitimate running league system that allows for, that is not a bridge, that allows for travels, exposure, that allows for an encompassing nature. And that's what the lovers are arguing for.
Yeah, for me, I think the chairman of state FAs of different basketball federations also have a very vital and very key role to play as well, because if you are the chairman of your state FA of basketball, and you discover that your team have gained the needed attention, just like Rivers Hoopers is doing very well, and everybody is excited, every Rivers State person and any good basketball follower, we're very proud following Rivers Hoopers for what they have done in the continent of Africa and what they're doing back home, and you'll be very, very keen to watch them live. Now, if the state FA and chairman are not pushing for some of these games to be played in their own backyard, how do you intend to bring the fans in who have also fallen in love with probably Rivers Hoopers? So it becomes a problem. That is why I say that for us to continue to sustain this kind of level of basketball development in the country, chairmen of the state FAs need to be very, very active, and they also need to be very intentional, just like the word you used out there, that, oh, come on, let them come together, have their own meeting, then they can also sort out some key points that they will take to the national, maybe to the Nigerian Basketball Federation, and say, this is what we've spotted, this is what we think, we go well for more of the improvement of basketball here. But if you allow the bulk of the work to the, center, sometimes they have a lot on their desk, and they might not even be thinking about some of these little things that can add more ingredients and more flair to the development of. So I think state FAs as well, they have key roles to play, because you can't tell me that my team is doing very well and I'm from Rivers State, I don't have the opportunity of watching them at home. No, come on. So I think the state FA need to come in. The fans as well need to be carried along, because the major aim of you establishing is for the fans to also be part and parcel of it. That is how you get to grow. You will not be happy. Players won't give their best when they are on the court playing and they find the court very deserted. Just one or two persons standing as spectators. It doesn't give them that extra motivation, to do their best. But you come to the, slamming and dunking, arena, you see the stadium jam-packed. You see how US, when you go to watch the NBA games,
every match day.
So, and it also comes with a revenue generation, because those people, they don't just troop into the arena for free.
They pay.
So you get to make money, and then also carry the fans along, make the competition or even the game even more popular. So for me, I think State FA also needs to do a lot. Just like you said, Engineer Ahmed Musa is doing pretty well in the last 2 years, but then there is need for an injection of new ideas in order for us to expand basketball development right here in the country.
Of course, when you have a lot, I'm sure next week, Tuesday, we're going to have more time to look at it, where we're going to bring Queen Mosef, I beg your pardon, and then some of the big guys in basketball to take a look at the new season of basketball. and of course, whatness, logistics challenges, funding challenges, and everything. So as players, the various teams on showcase and many more. As we even plan to also look at the NBA and the start of the NBA, which of course will kickstart, formally next week. So a lot will be on our menu when it comes to basketball matters on Tuesday next week. But let's move away from that now. Let's talk about tennis. We are in the spirit of celebration. The newly elected African Table Tennis Federation President Wahid Oshodi has outlined his vision for the sports on the continent. He emphasized that the growth and youth development as key priorities for his tenure. Speaking to the press after his unanimous election in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Tuesday, Oshodi expressed gratitude for the overwhelming support he received and highlighted the importance of building on the foundation laid by his predecessor. The former Lagos State Commissioner for Youth, Sports and Social Development reiterated his commitment to nurturing young talent across the continent. Oshodi, who became the second Nigerian to hold the ATTF presidency after engineer Segun George, noted that the importance of aligning African basketball with global trend is key, and he also highlighted the need to increasing funding and corporate support to achieving these goals. Three things he talk about youth development, talk about nurturing of talents, he talked about funding issues, addressing those challenges, and then looking at how to the overall growth of the sports in Africa, which for him is very paramount, Mike.
Yes, I think for me, he just actually outlined some of the major things that we need to do, or that he needs to do, in order for him to expand the development of the game in terms of Africa. He also talked about the fact that Africa have grown in terms of the game as well, and they need that international funding to also, keep on going. And also he talked about youth development and all of that. I think for me, he has actually outlined some of the key factors that can help improve the level of the game. And of course, Encomium is still pouring because of his emergence, because I think he has been able to prove himself. Taking a look at his track record in the game, right from being the commissioner of sport in Lagos State, you saw how he did very, very well during his era. We saw Lagos State become the hub, or maybe more like the Akrima of tennis, where we saw some international tennis event being hosted in Lagos State. He did pretty well. Also an executive member of the International Tennis Federation as well. In fact, as we speak, he was the vice president of International Tennis Federation before even his emergence, at this time around, where he was also a core member, executive member of the African Tennis Federation. So take a look at his track record and his precedence, what he has achieved, the work he's done both here in the country and the continent of Africa, and in extension, globally. I think he's the man that, deserves the nod. And from the statement he's made, you can see that he has, a very good blueprint in order for us to see more development of the game of tennis right here in the continent of Africa. So for me, I think all support must be accorded to him if we must achieve this goal.
We must achieve this goal. All support needs to be accorded to him, and let's see how far it goes. Moving on, Britain's Jacob Fenley saw his 13-match winning streak come to an end with defeat by Dutch opponent Stallone Grespo at the Stockholm Open qualifier. Fenley was beaten 7-6, 6-3 by world number 37 Grespo in the second round of the ATP 250 event. He's 23 years old and ranked 99th. Was looking to record the biggest or the best win by ranking of his professional career. A remarkable rise for him, seeing him climb into top 100, having ranked 646th at the start of the year. So you look at what he has achieved and said, okay, somehow when you meet the big boys, somehow you have to be at your best, otherwise you just feel like a pack of cards. But somehow he said, 13-match streak to an end by somebody who is a regular in the ATP, Grespo. I think it's not a bad one too.
No, not a bad one for Fenley. I think he has been able to, put himself on the world map, being seated 640 something before, but then courtesy of his scintillating performance. He has seen him, jump from 640 something to 99 in the world, being among the 100, best players across the globe. Playing about 13 games undefeated, coming up against a more stiffer opponent, you will say, who is better ranked than him, 37. He met his Waterloo. I think for me, he will also be holding his head very high, courtesy of his rise so far. But then I think he came up against a very stiff opponent that has more of the experience, talking about Chris Paul. I think for me, he has done his best. Let's hope that he has learned from this, and he's going to go back and regroup again, do more game plan, more perfection, more new tactics, and add to what he has learned already. And I tell you, if he continues to stay focused, he may in the few years to come be among the big names that we'll be hearing.
Be among the big names that he will be hearing. Let's get to see how Fenley will move on. But still talking tennis this morning, Serena Williams, former winner of 23 Grand Slam, has revealed that she had a grapefruit size growth removed from her neck and is doing well as she recovers. She's 43 years old, and of course, former world #1 in the TikTok video said that that was very needed. I mean, all those things comes with age too. But she said she's okay now. Hopefully, she can get better as time goes on. When you have a grapefruit size of growth, it can be very terrible, and of course, not very good.
Not very good at all for Serena Williams, the former #1 champion. I think we say a big congratulations for her for the successful removal of this grapefruit on her neck. It could sometimes be very disturbing, especially for there in the Senna climb where life actually matters and their health is very key. In Africa, maybe you go around the street, you can still see some people with a grapefruit in their neck, moving around, still doing their daily routine because of the nature of Africa and how, many times, no, that is not to, be disrespectful to Africa, but then it is the truth that sometimes, courtesy of the, background, economical, status and all of that, some of them don't even have the money to go for such an operation. But then over there, I think they take health as very, very key. She didn't want to take any risk. She had to go for that operation. But we thank God it was successful at the end of it all.
Successful at the end of it all, and I can tell you that it's always very joyous to get to hear such news. Moving on the show, international champion, Nigeria's WBF international champion, Abimeri Yetunde Aina is set to challenge Britain's Nicola Hopewell for Commonwealth flyweight title come this weekend at Sheffield in United Kingdom. The Nigerian pugilist, popularly known as Iron Lady, who also served as a corporal in the Nigerian police force, expressed her determination to clinch victory in an exclusive interview she talked about. I mean, when you blend boxing and your career, it can be very, but the good thing about it is that giving her the opportunity to go and exhibit her talent can also be very helpful. For her, it's going to represent Nigeria at that level. I hope she can win in the flyweight.
We hope so. We hope so. Maybe she can, win. You take a look at her record, not a very bad one. She has about 12 fights, winning all except for losing his last game against a French opponent. Courtesy of that a controversial judgment that didn't actually go in her favor. That fight took place at Nantes, which is at France. At there, maybe you may say that the home crowd had their way as well, but then it wasn't to her own favor. This time around, coming to meet up another stiffer opponent, flyweight champion. I think it is another big stage as well for her to make her mark, as it is right now, and also put the Nigerian police on the world map for the good reason. At least we've seen a couple of names coming in from the Nigerian police over the years in the world of sport, at least to represent the country and do Osprey. You can't also forget that Julius Efosa Agawa, a former Super Eagles player, was a product of the Nigerian police force as well. So I think we must give her all the support to see that at least she emerges champion for this very one, and also, you know, be able to put Nigerian police on the map out there, not just Nigerian police, but Nigeria itself and also the continent of Africa. So we are solidly behind her in her attempt to also, you know, make that headway that we await very soon. And I'm very hopeful that she's going to, you know, make it count. Going through her record, she has a very, very good record, you know, ahead of these fights.
All right, now we're going to short break, and when we come back, we'll still have more football matters here on Sports Talk this morning. Don't go anywhere.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Alright, it was goal galore across various centers on March the 7th of the Nigeria Premier Football League, where Kano Pillars produced a masterclass performance by beating defending champions Rangers International 4-3 away from home. Pillars scored 4 unreplied goals in the first half to shock the hosts, courtesy of a brace from Rabi Ali from the Sports and 1 each from Mohamed Azu and Ahmed Musa. However, Rangers tried to pull a comeback but failed despite Isaac Saviour's brace and Silas Nerod's efforts. This is a very dramatic and when I saw the result, I was like, I had to go through people's comments on platform to see how far. It was a near comeback, but it wasn't successful. But I was surprised that this happened in the Cathedral, where a lot of teams have been slaughtered.
That is football for you. Kano Pillars, they were not also resting on their oar. You could also remember they traveled all the way from north over the weekend down to south, you know, to play 2 games and hoping to at least get a positive result. Their last weekend game rather was against Aqua United at the Gosla Pabia International Stadium, which they actually lost slim margin, 1-0. Instead of jetting back to Kano, they said no, they jetted back straight to Enugu at the Cathedral to honor their midweek encounter against Enugu Rangers, and they were able to pull the string. They turned the screw, and they actually got a positive result. In fact, as at first half, it was 4-0. So many were very surprised at that result, but then Enugu Rangers had to rally back. They crawled back into the game, and it looks as though it was going to end in a 4-all draw, because it was more like a drama. Enugu Rangers pulled one back, making it 4-1 before you could say Jack 4-2, 4-3, but then I think the time wasn't there for them to pull back, to come back fully into that game, and it ended in a disappointing encounter for Enugu Rangers. But I tell you, it was a very, very keenly contested game.
I was wondering whether that game was played at night.
No, it wasn't played at night. It's just that, the weather was very, very good. More like a European weather where everybody, and you saw the fans. Yesterday, I was like, wow. The Enugu Rangers fans, they are very passionate and very peaceful as well. Despite the fact that they were being beaten at home, you still see some of the fans maintaining their cool, watching the game with keen interest, and that is what we want to see in the Nigerian Premier Football League. But then you need to also give kudos to Kano Pillars, the boost of some of the experienced players, some of the experienced like Ahmed Musa, the captain of the Super Eagles, has plied his trade right here in the league before jetting out for overseas ventures. They're coming back to add his own value to the league as well. Rabi Ali, one of the iconic players in the Nigerian Premier, at 42 is still healthy and hearty, still scoring goals, bang, bang, bang. So for me, I think it was a nice victory for Kano Pillars, traveling all the way from the north down to south to get all 6 points, but then at the southeast rather, they got a 3 point. I think it's not a bad one for them.
In Latvia, Anas Yusuf was in blistering form when he bagged his second hat-trick of the season to help Nasarawa United demolish Abia Warriors 3-0. This is fantastic. Eyimba FC came from a goal down to pull out a draw with visiting Niger Tornadoes, while Economy Warriors also came from 2 goals down to play out the 2-all draw with Lobby Stars. Kola United were at their very best as they defeated Sunshine Star 3-0 at the Loring Township Stadium. Other match days 7 encounter will continue today across different centers in the country. Bender Insurance versus Bayelsa United. Rivers United will take on Shooting Stars, and then Heartland versus Ikorodu City. Plateau United versus Remo Stars. Katsina United versus Aqua United. And of course, we have seen the table. I mean, it looks like a normal league now. Where it doesn't matter what transferred in the last two weekends, where we saw no away win. I mean, what we saw yesterday was drama full. Some of the centers draws there and there. It tells that the league is still on that PC level and nothing has changed.
Yeah, it's still very much competitive as what we are anticipating that is going to be this season. Last week, we didn't see much of the away win. These midweek fixtures, we saw Team Kano Pillars going away and then Enugu Rangers to, churn out the result. Enyimba, their own home ground, even struggled. They had to struggle to come back into that game to play. So for me, I think it's looking likely that we are going to see even more competitive. And you see how the table is turning and twisting. You see that next week, Rivers United will be at top. Next other weeks, Remo Stars, Enugu Rangers, just shuttling, the league table as it is. Courtesy of Enugu Rangers' inability to win their game, maybe there will be further pushback into the log as it is right now. Then for Enyimba, who could not win all 3 points, it's a big challenge. Rivers United will be playing their game today. Let's see if Finidi George can get all 3 points at least to climb the top again. But don't also forget Remo Stars, who is already topping right now. Courtesy of Rivers United inability to win their last game. Remo Stars won their game. They are at top of the table right now. Remo Stars as well will be in action as well. So for me, I think the league is, from the table and from the statistics, is very, very competitive this season. Very competitive.
And the last story before we move, our time is up already. Just to say that our Flamingos got the better of New Zealand in their campaign starting yesterday night. It was wonderful, dominated the game, and in fact, the consolation goal was even nothing. But then the Flamingos had a good start in their bid for a championship.
Yeah, a good one for them. I think they started the game very well. First half alone, they were already up by 3 goals to nothing. Second half, they had to finish the job. I think it's a nice way to start, especially in your first group game. You need to get a convincing result, at least to calm your nerve heading into the second game. Then again, for the fact that we also have the host country in our group as well, makes it even more dicey. So we need to start on a very bright note to have any genuine chance or chances of at least qualifying from that group. So for me, I think it's a good way to start.
Our next game will be against Ecuador before we play Colombia. So let's see how far this we go. Many thanks to you, Mike, for being part of the conversation today.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back at 6 p.m. for more interaction, of course. Then I will have more time to look at some of the other football matters we have on the menu. Airport Temple is my name. Do have a lovely and scintillating time on Atlantic Television Network.